Hi, Leilani Cawthon here, Learning Council News Media CEO and publisher here. And I also have just started, of course, what is it, Roland? About 7 weeks ago, we started the Omni-AI Alliance in response to demand and the reality that the market for AI is going to move forward. It's going to mature very, very quickly. Schools are not ready for that. And we wanted to bring up new policy areas and things that needed to be talked about and also really educate people about Omni-AI. So I'm going to have two guests today. Everybody that's joined, I want you guys to feel free to introduce yourself. I'm going to pause for a couple minutes to have you do that and tell us kind of what you're hoping to get out of the day. But there will be plenty of time for chat along the way, I hope. And I'm going to give an overview of what Omni-AI is as well. So if you're on the line right now, and you can be on camera, or if you just want to unmute and introduce yourselves, please do. I'm going to call on you individually. Wanda, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi. I work with higher ed and pre-service teachers. And we're talking a lot about AI and trustworthy frameworks, since we know it's part of our education system. It's not going anywhere. So I work with Morgan State University in Baltimore, Maryland, and also University of Maryland at College Park.
I'm excited to meet you. Probably every school that is ever going to listen to this is excited that you exist. They all want teachers to arrive being employed by them, well aware. All right, good. So then Susan Carlson from Buddha. You want to introduce yourself?
Good morning. My name is Suzanne Carlson, and I'm the Director of Development at Boot Up, and we are a nonprofit that provides professional development to teachers across the country in the K through 8 arena. So I'm happy to hear and learn all that we can from this information. We're hearing a lot of chatter from our teachers and our school districts on AI and how to infuse it and how to navigate these waters safely.
Great. Well, it's good to have you. And then who am I missing so far? Well, we have so many people joining right now. I think I'm gonna maybe have you guys save your questions and introduce things, and then I'll call on anybody else. So I'm giving people a chance to join in. So I'm going to proceed with a quick intro before I call on everyone else who hasn't been called on to introduce yourselves. Ask questions as you go. So here's our agenda for today. We've had a lot of these meetings before, so we've done a lot of deeper dive into the topic of Omni-AI and all of the parts of it. This is just going to be a very quick catch up on what it is. And then I'm going to feature two speakers, Ernie Delgado, Roland Antoine, who are committee leaders for the Omni-AI Alliance. Both of them come from two different perspectives. We have different guests every time we do an open meeting, and then once a month there's a closed meeting for the formal paid members, and that's for the work of this group and to deep dive into kind of where the future leads and produce the end products for membership. So we just got our short 2-page introduction done. It's going to be up in the No Story, knowstory.com. Has an Omni-AI Alliance group in it where we post all the documents and all the upcoming news, and we have all 3 member committees. There's a lot of ongoing work in that. We need to invite all the rest of the members. There's about 475 members now. We're driving to 4,000 by late March, just before we do a national event. We also have new corporate members. We've formally made Learning AI Agency, Roland's group, and Beyond K-12 corporate members. Cisco's a corporate member. Instructure just joined. Kidam and No Story is a hosting member. We're excited to have our new membership. We've got a lot more lining up. The working projects right now is we're going to finish the Premise and Promise expanded white paper. There's been a lot of work on that. We're going to work on membership growth. We've got the national Chicago now, moving from Atlanta, which is too small to hold it, to Chicago. We're working on AI governance policies at the institution level, which is different than working on acceptable use policies, which almost everybody's already doing. We're doing a sample core governance policy which includes dashboard code, which you would enter into an LLM framework, an AI, in order to give you the governance policy that you want, which is toggle switches, choke points for words, those kinds of things. We're looking right now at schooling friendly LLM vendors for closed walled garden AI and what the pricing models are. And hopefully the Omni-AI Alliance is going to form a coalition pricing bullying structure, basically, to get pricing for a walled garden LLM down for a lot of schools and districts. And then we're doing, this is something Roland's going to work on, by Edtech schema manifesting Omni-AI core. So as soon as you find out what an Omni-AI core is, if you're new to us, you'll understand what I'm saying. We have certain mini courses that'll be coming probably around October. And those are just introduction to all of these concepts and some simplicities for teachers, things about what is it to be human, which a lot of people ask us about all the time. It's one of our goals. So this is the Omni-AI Alliance group within No Story. Go join it. It's a social media hub structure. It also has Time AI for you to play with in there. We also have a Google group, although we're kind of moving away from that now. We have a lot of members in there. The three committees are the Change Leadership Core Circle, which is led by Dr. Douglas Hendricks out of Clayton County in Georgia. I don't know if he or one of his staff is going to be on today, but that focus is on we need to change, and we need to change not just by adding AI, but structural into how we run and deliver and execute on education. And that's not just to say, let's do it differently at the teaching level. Let's do it differently at the structural workflow level. And then, Roland, you run the Tech Policy and Schemas Core Circle, and Ernie runs the Teaching and Learning Core Circle. You guys are all welcome to join any one of those groups for discussion. The membership gains these alliance statuses. If you become a member, you get this little logo to stick in your email and let everybody know you're a member and spread membership that way. The more the merrier, because we're trying to create a power enclave in order to eventually, like I said, form negotiation point for all the schools and districts. We don't care if they're public, private. We just want to aggregate influence about, where we're going with AI. This is the latest article on the Learning Council news site. Research has gone into the underpinning of some of the new models, which is basically the new paradigm and the true learning paradigms, not necessarily whole group. That might be shocking to people that are educators, but that research dates back to the 1970s. And AI, we believe, is really going to help with that. All right. This is our basic statement of who we are. If you've been on the website, you've already read it, so I won't spend time on it. But essentially, we work in the future as to what will be happening. That'll always be our stance. As soon as one thing is done, like the policy areas, we're going to move on to the next thing. All right, what is Omni-AI? If it's new to you, basically we're living in a world right now of generative AI. Everybody knows about, consumer level chatbotting. That's narrowband AI. It's mostly LLM. It might have diffusion engines in it. It might have some of the other forms of AI in it, but it's very narrow banded. Omni-AI is when recommendations engines, Time AI, diffusion AI, all the discriminative AI, and some of the other types of generative AI come together and form a mind for the enterprise. So if you're not familiar with this concept, just think of it as a layer above. So these are all the types. You can see this on our website of Omni-AI. I will make a prediction now based on research from the last 2 weeks that where the K-12 and higher ed market space is headed is trying to get into either coalition force walled gardens that they can control and have governance over. That's where our governance policies are coming in for isolated AI instances, also known as enterprise AI. There are about 10 companies right now providing that directly. They will farm all of the LLM data, give it a walled cutoff, allow you to govern that, and then you add your own data to it, which there are already some districts trying to do that. There's also been failures in the market. Los Angeles Unified is one instance. The next thing that will happen, and it's already being talked about, is what's called bubble AI, which is a wraparound user shell for all of your individual users. They're all using ChatGPT and commercial AI anyway. Students are doing that at massive levels. It's unstoppable. So what institutions are going to try to do is wall garden that or shell that around individual students, feed that shell up to the Omni, and then the Omni is running recommendations engines back to the individual for what to study next. And and other kind of co-pilot social emotional features around that particular student. There's a lot of complexity there. This is what a plasmid core looks like. I don't expect you to read all this thing. These slides will come out to you. If you're on this, you're going to get an email with the slide decks. Okay. So, and we're also recording this, so this video will go up later. But essentially, it's called the plasmid core. That's why we call our committees core circles, because it's not a system. It's not another learning management system. It's not just buying your instance of commercial AI. It's an Omni with your own orchestration for all your ingestion layers, your semantic layer, your sub frameworks, which are your agents, and all your orchestration and optimization, and how you simplify outcomes. Ideally, and one of the reasons this was formed is that the companies that already have well-crafted edtech, even if they are also AI infused, they become part of the structure. Their whole system feeds into how you do your learning management system and what the Omni knows about what's going on in their systems, so that it can recommend, well, this student needs module X over in, say, Kiddom's software, who's a new sponsor, or it needs to do this. Why don't you do a new course over in Instructure or whatever? So the idea is we don't get rid of what's working. We don't get rid of, especially the crafted, animated science of learning that we're not going to get right away, or maybe anytime soon or ever, out of AI, because the people that built the instructional designers that built the things that are in the crafted edtech, they shouldn't be marginalized. They should be kept in the whole schema. So what you're going to see happen with Omni-AI is a whole lot of new interoperability and orchestration layer at a different level than you currently see from other associations. All right, these are the 5 models that the Omni-AI Alliance has already forwarded as the future of learning. One of them is matrix fractional, and those are the types of AI it will use. It is the fastest one to market. It still uses whole group live teaching. It probably would use video conferencing, but essentially it allows you to matrix staffing from anywhere, which is a huge cost savings, and most school districts and schools can't get all the teachers they need anyway. Then there's the co-pilot schooling, which is those user shells or bubbles, totally different social emotional way. And it sort of uses the master teacher apprentice model, frees up a lot of teacher time. Pathflex schooling anchors on time AI to completely rearrange scheduling. To put it simply, it Uberizes the class moment by small group, so that each class is at a different time. The same class in the course, maybe at different times of the week or even a month, depending on how fast each individual is moving. The AI is watching that and cohorting small groups out of it, pulling them into the next class based on the schema of the course. That AI is also anticipated to revolutionize higher ed, because there's no enrollment required date. You can enroll at any time. The AI will try to force you forward to catch up with the tailing end of whatever group's ahead of you. The lounge satellite schooling is expected in the retail industry to solve the homeschooling problem, because that growth in homeschooling is 65% year over year. It's just a runaway train. And now that so many states are allowing choice legislation to pay for things rather than a school, like Arkansas, Travis, I know you'll comment on this. People are wanting to pay for a similar service to childcare, only for older kids. So they drop their kids off at this local, maybe converted retail place that looks like a lounge, and it basically has adult supervision. And maybe it does pathway planning. I think districts and schools would be really smart to put these satellite offices out there. And then those kids are arriving, on online schools, or they're showing up on Zoom meetings for, motion tracking cameras on your teachers in your school, but they're way out in the Hinter region. Then there's a la carte limitless, which is where we think Omni-AI is really going to go, and probably at the state and district level first. We're hoping states are starting to build this. We know they're sniffing around it. All right, so those are the main ones. You're probably going to have a million questions about those. There's probably going to be more, but those are the first ones. All right, so I'm going to have people introduce themselves. Ernie, you get ready. I'm going to stop sharing. You're up next, so you can share. I'm going to call on people that haven't been called on, so you can say whatever you want to say, introduce yourself, and then questions will be after Ernie and after Roland. Okay, so who have I not called on? Stephanie Baker, did I call on you?
I didn't have a question to start us off. I'm a teacher in an adult high school and just interested in AI and what's happening and how that might impact us or the the students that were graduating. So I'm here mostly as an observer, but I'll definitely pop off if I have a question.
Okay, you'll probably love what Ernie's going to talk about.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for that. Charles Franklin?
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon if you're on the East Coast. Says hello, I'm Charles Franklin from Cypress Fairbanks ISD in Texas, Houston, Texas region. Pretty large school district in the area. We are just starting our AI journey, so hopped on to hear about all the great things that are going on. We've been meeting with our superintendent and our cabinet to kind of talk through our guidelines and reaching out to all the districts around us. And so we're super excited we have a couple pilots in place, but just really anxious to see what you guys have and super excited to contribute anything that I can going forward.
Good. Well, you're going to be a member then, Charles. All right. So, Abbas, you're here from Kidham. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Abbas Manji, co-founder and chief academic officer at KIDM. Really excited to be partnering with the Learning Council in the future. I'm here as a curious observer and spectator, and also part of an organization that's building with AI as a companion to our technology. So we're really excited to be partnering with you all. Thanks for the
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah, we're really excited about your product. All right, Anne Flynn, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Anne Flynn, I am now working with the National Consortium of STEM schools that are, like everyone else, trying to figure out AI for their students, but also particularly interested in the kind of AI that they need to be providing for their students who are very likely going to be the next generation of AI developers. The nature of these schools are some of the best and brightest kids pursuing STEM careers. So just trying to keep up with it and feel like I'm having a retro moment. I remember when the internet arrived. I remembered when social media arrived, and here we go again with yet another game-changing technology.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you. Okay, Chucks.
Good morning, everyone. So this is Chax. I'm the founder and CEO at Blooms. I know I met Leilani at ISTE and we showed what we have been working on. We're a unified parent communication platform. So we have embraced AI, not just generative AI, but truly agentic AI, so that we can eliminate the app complexity to simply give a conversational interface to our entire app experience. And behind the scenes, we integrate with a lot of data points. So this includes attendance, grades, and transportation notifications. And then we are also communication platform. So we're able to give that simplified experience that allows parents to get answers to typical questions that they may have about the school policies and so on. And
Okay,
on the teacher side, simplifying the experience. So I'm excited and looking forward to collaborating with this team.
thank you. I'm going to go really quick now because I want enough time for Ernie and our other presenter here, Roland. So, Anna Otto, who are you and where are you from?
Hi, all. I serve as the computer science and online learning coordinator for Adams 12 five-star schools, which is located near Denver, Colorado.
Yeah.
Part of my work is to lead forward AI initiatives in our district with a team of us, and we're exploring both student learning opportunities and trying to wrap our heads around how AI will be changing just the whole landscape of education for kids going forward.
Great. Good to have you. Brianna.
Hi, good morning. My name is Brianna Timlin. I am part of the KIDM team. I oversee the customer success team. I'm sorry I joined a bit late, so I'm not sure what the whole question was, but really happy to be here.
Good. Yeah, that was just introduce yourself right now. Claire Agostinelli.
Hey, I'm here.
Crystal.
Sorry.
Hi, Claire. Who are you and where are you from?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm the VP of Marketing at KIDM, and we're excited about the partnership and helping schools to navigate this shift in education and teaching and learning, and seeing how we can help them do that and navigate through it.
Fantastic. All right. Who am I missing? I keep going out of order on this. Crystal Perry. Who are you and where are you from?
Hi, my name is Crystal Perry. I am the Balanced Opportunity Specialist here in Birmingham City Schools. I am a part of the innovation department that we just started at our school district. And so I'm really just trying to get jump on the bandwagon with AI, learn how we can integrate this into our K-12 setting appropriately, making sure kids are safe and learning, and really just trying to make sure that it's helping them in a beneficial way.
Good, Crystal, great. Ernie, I want you to introduce what you are doing. I know you're a major contributor. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ernie Delgado, founder, CEO of Beyond K-12, formerly Beyond Technology Education. We are in our 24th year of Edtech business, supporting K-12 schools. And hi, Ann, I saw an old friend there from a long time ago. And it was interesting what Ann was pointing out, all the different technologies that she's seen during her educational career. And it's funny. This is a slide I've been showing for years, and it's just interesting where we're at today in regards to just innovation in education and in the world in general. Um, there's this simple, basic growth, and there's exponential growth, and 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 4 is 16. 4 more iterations. It's a crazy number. I don't even know what that number is. And so when you look at the green arrow where we started in 01, I think we had the internet was there. You had, I think laptops were there. But so soon after that, we got Google and Workspace. It was called Google Apps at the time, if I remember correctly. Then we got the iPad. So all these innovations have been happening, but that little curve, that little bend has been getting steeper and steeper. And now we're at this point where everything is innovating so fast, and AI has come along at a time when all these different things are coming together. And I think that's causing a couple different things. It's causing a lot of people to ask questions, which is amazing. It's causing some people, like Leilani, to create a group to help create answers to those questions and bring people together, stakeholders. And it's also creating some amazing innovations that none of us knows where this is going to be in the next couple of years, because this stuff is getting faster. So, it took 15, 20 years for the internet to mature. AI is maturing way faster. So that's just, I think, a good place to start. Where are we in the whole innovation curve, and being aware that this is changing faster than ever. And for a school administrator, a district office representative, a school principal, a teacher, leadership in general, it presents 2 opportunities. First, you got all these amazing new tools, and Omni-AI is an attempt to kind of organize those ideas and thoughts and technologies and innovations for leadership. So that's awesome. These great new things to work with. It also gives educators and leaders a new hat to wear. Like, they don't need another hat, right? They wear multiple hats already, but it's now that AI strategist hat. You need to be plugged in and aware. And when we do these kind of meetings, I see different kind of faces in the Zoom window. Some people are like, "Yeah, this is great." Some people are like glassy eyed because it's beyond them. So I wanted to kind of just start in a basic way on where we are with AI and how Omni-AI is going to help solve some of these problems. And I love some of the quotes that are out there. AI is the new electricity. Ooh, wow, that's a powerful statement. You either agree or don't agree. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's a little excessive, but it is pretty powerful.
Hey, Ernie.
Yeah.
Can I just be helpful, because we're going to have such limited time? Can
Yep.
we move into sort of like specificity in terms of guidance? I think pretty much I'm reading the group here, and they've all been down this road. They kind of know where we're going, where we've come from, and the inspiration for how fast we have to move is
Yeah.
probably real to everybody already on here. But I know you have specific things to share about what people need to do, right? And I think that's why people are here. Can we kind of move into that so we can go into question and answer with you?
Well, I'm really starting out on a foundational level, Leilani. There's not a load. I'm not putting any kind of workload on anybody, but I would like let's start that conversation now. The committee is designed to give people opportunities to give input, to publish, to share success stories. What's working, what's not working. And I think that's one of the main objectives of the committee as a whole is best practices and to start building that on ramp for many people who maybe are not prepared for that. With that said, Leilani, why don't you step in also? What is your opinion of the committee, and how would you see us, like all the entire group, to work together towards that vision?
Yeah, well, I know there's some people in instructional technology on the line right now, and some teachers. I think what's happening at the nth level, down at the trenches, where stuff really goes, it's real. Like, what is the kid doing? What is the teacher doing? There's a lot of policy stuff going around. I know I had a conversation yesterday, and you've talked to them too, Rishal and Ishan, who are running they're 17 years old. They're running a new group of kids nationwide that want to give some pushback on what needs to happen with technology. And I think where people are at is, what do they do, right? Like, so I know you're deep into that, Ernie, and other people might want to pop off right now, but I know Beyond K-12 is deep into actually helping people learn what you're doing and how you're using actual AI. The way it is right now, before you build your Omni infrastructure, maybe even before you buy a lot of really quality tools like Kidums, what are you doing? Like how you script, how you build out. So if you want to say a few things about that, I think that's going to be really, really interesting for people, because that professional development that you're neck deep into, Ernie, is, I think, really interesting for people.
Yeah. Well, let me get to the model then. So there are
Yeah.
obviously several ways to go about this. And I think even with the advent of the Omni-AI Alliance, even we're looking internally at what we do and how we could do it better. But the model that we developed really is a 9-step plan. And the ultimate objective is everyone has AI integrated, they're trained, they're ready to go. But it really starts with our approach with an audit, where we do a 360 look at a school system or a school site. A lot of our work these days is the school site level. And you really have to look at the school from two different perspectives. And Roland and I had a really good conversation yesterday that a lot of us are talking about how AI can impact the classroom, teaching and learning, personalization. There's so many amazing things that can happen there and are happening there. But you also have to look at the school system as a whole and operations, quote unquote, and how AI can impact the entire system. So, yeah, the classroom's part of that model, but an audit will really help you dig down into each individual department and determine how AI can elevate, make that department more efficient. We talked about busing schedules. We talked about physical education models. There's so many. I mean, every department in a school system has a use case for AI. And that's where, when all these different silos of data are going, the vision of Omni AI is to build that internal, the membrane that brings it all together, and they all work harmoniously. And the AI tools that are being developed manage all that data and give quick, easy, accurate data just in time, and keeps everything moving forward effectively. When we do these audits, it really gives us the opportunity to then put together a plan for the school or the district, for the teachers and the teaching models in the classroom, and obviously how we could impact curriculum and provide what I feel is one of the most exciting parts of AI in education is the personalization, where that dream of every student having their own personal lesson is now doable. Teachers have done it, do it. It's a lot of work, but AI makes it real simple, where lessons can be personalized for students. And that's the exciting part. And then, it's time to implement and get the ball rolling. But that's the model that we developed as an organization. I do know that we are, as we do more work as a group with Omni AI, we're going to be rethinking this. Nothing's in stone these days. I like to tell people we're in the Wild West stages of AI integration in schools. And so what comes next is to be determined.
Okay, so do you want to go to questions? Tips for teachers, tips for administrators? Or do you which direction
Sure.
you
I would
want to
like
go?
to open it up to the group. I'm curious where people are at in their level of involvement. Have they developed a model? Are they working with existing models? And how do they see Omni-AI providing resources for them?
I'll jump in and just say one of the things that we're like, again, we're just starting our journey in the sense like we have Copilot for our admin and operations and business offices. We have Gemini for some of our ed tech professionals and coaches and coordinators. So we're using Amira for some of our students for personalized reading learning. We're looking at Microsoft. So it's all over the place, which is my big issue. We're trying to now jump into, okay, so how do we control this better? How do we add governance? So, how do we communicate to our parents and our board and our community? So we're really in that, okay, it's all over the place. Let's pull it back in. Let's formalize it. And also, what use cases are we really going to invest in? And what use cases are we? So that's, to me, that's kind of those two things are really where we're at, is communication so that everybody knows that we have some of our stuff together. And then also, like, what use cases are we really going to hone in on so that we make the biggest impact for our teachers and students and staff, and we can lean into that and do professional development for that. And so right now it's a little bit it's too much all over the place for me, and that's kind of what we're trying to do to get our hands around it.
I wanted to ask a
Go ahead.
question. Is there a part of your implementation plan where there's just basic education? Because I do know that there's a level of teacher and or school administrator that still isn't caught up, isn't up to speed. Do you have a way to determine who those people are and how to get them prepared, and what's the method to do that?
Yeah, so I'm on the technology side, and so I'm gonna put up all the roadblocks and structure, and then I'm gonna lean heavily on my ed tech folks to work on the PD and really give me the use cases. So I don't have them here with me, but yeah. So I think we're gonna look at our heavy adopters, our super users who are already engaged, get some of their best practices, look and see kind of what do we want to promote, and then start to develop that. Here's AI. We're going to look at, we're going to develop principles. We're also going to look at student communication, student citizenship, digital citizenship. We're going to add AI into our digital citizenship platform. So that's kind of some of the things for the students, for teachers. I think we're going to lean heavily on what use cases are currently out there, and then also just professional development.
Interesting. I know, Ernie, you're going to focus your attention a lot on the teaching and learning level, the dynamics of the humanity. But the questions you just asked, Charles, were really good. And what I'm realizing is that we're going to need to dedicate a few of these meetings just to use cases at teaching and learning level. So guys, be prepared for those. Those will be coming down the
Leilani,
pike.
could I jump in?
Yeah.
On
Go
that
ahead.
question? So, hang on. Is it Charles? Right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, so Charles, I'm Roland Antoine. I previously was the Deputy Chief Technology Officer for Dallas ISD, the Director of Learning Technology Services for TEA, and an Assistant Superintendent over Innovative Projects for Dallas. I actually have written responsible use policies for students, staff, as well as a procurement policy. I would say in your position, because people are looking at you to make sure things don't get out of the, that the horses don't leave the barn, so to speak. That it's important kind of get those things up front, even if those things are going to be documents in development, especially on the procurement side. I would highly encourage you to address that, because what you don't want is for there to be, and I actually had to deal with this at one time, AI projects that shouldn't exist. I actually had to deal with that at one point in time. That's probably your first area of address, and probably the area people will want to address the least, is just to make sure that the district does not get knee deep into a contract for something that they absolutely do not need to have.
Gotcha.
And then you can start to kind of work back from there as to what staff should do with things and students should do with things. And also at the same time planning exactly what the district needs to have done to make AI a benefit. Like, for example, Ernie and I talked about transportation management, which is not a great human enterprise. So that's a good thing for AI to handle. Okay.
Well, Roland, can I just step in here? Because we're going to transition to you. So I'm going to comment one last thing for Ernie, because I want to make sure everyone understands that Ernie is a resource for you. As a committee member, you can reach him, you can schedule with him. He lives at the teaching and learning level to help. But the cross between him and Roland, just so everyone understands, is the Omni-AI Alliance believes that you should be making sure as you implement AI to inspect what you already have. So Ernie talked about taking an inventory and looking at what you have, because companies that you've already invested resources in are supposed to be part of your curriculum. But AI, the way that the research is showing is going, is trying to replace a lot of that really quality instructional design, with a lot of teachers using it, maybe not with an instructional design mindset. Now, we love teachers, but the defining the channel that AI should be being used in should be part of your policy institutionally. Because otherwise, what you're going to do is you're going to have invested millions of dollars in other companies who have done a lot of really good work. You spent a lot of time vetting them and buying all their stuff, and now they're not even being used. And that crossover point's not going to be useful for you long term, especially because you want teachers to be more human, not spending even more time rebuilding what you've already purchased. So that delta between what you have and what they might be trying to do has to be part of policy, and Ernie can help you with that. So can Roland. So Ernie, I just wanted to give you that punch up right there. Roland, do you want to share now?
Yeah.
Well, Roland's doing that. I also want to mention the committee. When you go to the no story, it's balancing AI with human intelligence, teaching and learning. So it does encompass those different concepts in contrast to what Roland's doing.
And while you're pulling that up, I'll just mention that Dr. Doug Hendricks, Assistant Superintendent out of Clayton County in Georgia, he's running the last committee, the one that's all about leadership and the urgency to create change. So he's the one that's deep into the models and what kind of model. He wrote an exceptional book. When we met him on the road, we were just thrilled with him because he really gets it. He really gets why people need to look at model change. So you'll meet him on another bunch of these meetings down the road. We couldn't get him because I think they just started school today. All right, Roland, over to you. Are you sharing?
Okay. Hang on. Let me make sure I am. All right.
Okay.
There you go. Are you guys seeing
Yep.
Omni-AI and Edtech?
Yeah.
Okay. So my name is Roland Antoine. I am the Chief Strategy Officer for Learning AI Agency, which is an advisory organization. We're not a company with a product, but we do basically work with groups like Learning Council and a couple of others to help with processing the technology into strategy, right? Because things in AI are happening every day. There's a site I normally go to called Market Tech Posts that is like every day there's like a new tool out there for developers. So things are changing very fast. AI has basically blown Moore's law away. So that's not even the thing anymore because of AI. To give you some history, I started off as a special ed teacher, and my last position was Assistant Superintendent of Enterprise Applications for Dallas ISD. So I have been everything from the teacher, administrator, I was assistant principal at one point, district data analyst. I've walked through all of it. I've done projects from a massive data center move to $30 million Oracle update. So I've kind of seen every part of the EdTech from, Chromebook implementations to actually massive enterprise systems. I don't say that to boast, but I'm saying that when I, start to talk about certain things, it's because I was there. All right. So let's start off with why we're doing this. I think this is kind of important. You know, one of the reasons behind Omni-AI is we want to make sure that things help kids, that end up promoting student success, right? And largely defined as, I'm not going to read the slide here, you can read it, but what I want to also bring out is what's in the paragraph below, that there are a ton of other places where AI fits that helps kids. Like I mentioned before, transportation management. In order for them to benefit from school, they got to get there. So, there's a lot of places where there is a valid use case for AI, and that's generally around things that humans don't do well. We are not great with spreadsheets. We do not do databases well. AI does databases great. What we do is the action that comes from that analysis. Again, can technology help us do this? Definitely. There's the top level case of personalized mastery-based learning for every student, just being able to provide a tutor for every kid, but also being able to augment teachers and administrators in ways that surface information that they need to do to act to help a student, because a lot of that gets buried down in data systems. Also, at the higher level, to address and possibly eliminate some of the wicked problems of public education. I'm not going to explain what a wicked problem is. Look that up. And if you want to know what wicked problems in other education, public education are, there are a number of papers about that. But there are some massive problems that are too large for humans to do alone, but could be assisted by AI to kind of dig things out that we can act on and then change. And there are probably 100 other use cases everybody in this room has that I haven't thought of. Okay, so I am going to go through this though. So if you've heard of the 3 laws of robotics, I created my 5 laws of AI and Edtech. I figure I get to do that because I've done all this stuff. Okay, first thing, education is a uniquely human enterprise where return on investment is measured in student success. I actually have an equation for that if you need something to actually calculate that with. Data can show you a problem, but only humans can fix it. So that means that somehow you have to get whatever that is that's showing in the data to human beings that can actually take action and take care of that problem or address that thing that the student needs to move forward. I don't think anybody can argue on that one. If you're going to expose local data to AI, and I know this from experience, unfortunately, data quality and governance is a necessary precondition. What I mean is data that's sitting in your SIS, sitting in your ERP, sitting in whatever system that well, I've heard a lot of people talk about, well, we're going to, pull everything into a data warehouse and sit AI on top of it. That was the problem with the LA Unified failure. That type of God AI design is not a thing. Corollary to that is that there may be new categories of data information that you need to actually get to things that are actionable. I have a friend, Evan Wilson, who has a company that I'll have information on him later. He calls that street data. It's after he and I had conversations about not only the data level, but the information level. Because what we've done with data is we've compressed students down to what I call 0 dimensions, which leaves out a lot of context that you need to actually turn it into actionable information. Well, he has a system that actually uses information, which would be reports, conversations, things of that nature.
Roland, do you feel that that's the point where those student AI shells will come in? The bubbles?
That's where that would be useful.
Mm-hmm.
That's where that would be useful, where you actually have just unstructured information about students that AI can make sense of, because AI can actually use language as data. So that's where the bubble piece is a part of it. And there's actually kind of some interesting ways you can get to a bubble. Another thing that I'm going to say, and I will always fight people on this, predictive analytics has no place in EdTech. Why? Because in education, our thing is that we actually act to change the future of a student. We tell people, if you let us have your kid for 16 years, they will have a different future than what they would have if they didn't. So we don't predict, we actually alter, we determine. So we don't need predictive analytics. What we need to do is to have the information to act, to make those points of determination take hold while in real time. Okay. Predictions for things that you can't control, like hurricanes. Students aren't hurricanes. We assume that we can exert some level of control over their individual and collective destinies. That's why we have schools. And the priority of now. The closer information is to now, the more actionable it is. I know that seems absurdly obvious, but if you're in the state of Texas, for example, you know that accountability data lags for a year. It's literally a year old before you actually get it. That's not actionable. That can only be punitive. Actionable things, actionable information and data is closer to now. So next I'm going to show you. Oh, go ahead.
So Roland, how about if you save some of these use cases for another meeting?
Okay.
Well, I think people are going to want to talk about this, and not everybody's introduced themselves. I haven't heard from Jim Fazzino for, I don't know, years. Jim, if you're still on, you should unmute. Kaya Clark, love that gal. I want you to unmute. I think we should have some discussion time now. I know I cut you off, Ernie, and I know I cut you, Roland, because both of you could talk to everyone for hours and everyone on the line would learn so much from them. But Jim, what's happening with you guys, and what question or comment do you want to make?
Yeah, great. Well, it's first of all great to be here. Great to see you again, Leilani, and thank you everyone
great
for
to see
including
you.
me. I'm with Baltimore County Public Schools online learning program. Been working with virtual online e-learning for well over a decade now. And of course, one of the things that I'm here for is all of the things. Everything that's been shared so far is incredibly important. You have teachers who want to be early adopters, teachers who are really apprehensive. There's the conversations at higher levels around what is appropriate and effective use. And of course, there's always your stakeholders you're accountable to, right? So how is the going down this really interesting experience going to be beneficial for students in the long run? And what are the tangibles, right? What are the things that we can point to say that this juice has been worth the squeeze? Because you have the haves and have nots. You know, I have embraced AI, I have not embraced AI. It becomes a real challenge as to what is it we should do? Because at the end of the day, there's the conversations around how valid is it, how useful is it, and we all know that it's incredibly productive. It's incredibly useful for us at the business aspect and the management pieces and whatnot. But I'm still kind of in that instructional circle right now, and making sure that we are doing right by the students that we serve, and really getting everybody on the same page so we can stop butting heads and really start working together on it. So excited to be here and learn along with everyone.
Yeah, it's going to be a journey. Every one of these is going to be different. Kaya, can I hear from you? I haven't seen you forever.
I know, right? It was just last year when we saw each other, but it seems like forever. Hello, everyone. I am Kaya Clark, Executive Director for Information and Innovation here in the DeKalb County School District. I support instructional technology and our student information systems. My background is I've been a school administrator, I've been a teacher, I've done almost every job in the schoolhouse with pride and pleasure. So I'm just happy to be a part of the conversation. Leilani always does a great job bringing the professionals around the table to have the tough conversations and to sit together as thought partners. So I appreciate being here. I'm going to be pretty short today simply because I'm at the doctor's office with a sick kid. So he chose to bring home some of those school germs, and we're dealing with that. But in our district, we too are going fast, only to go slow. With trying to figure out what we want to do with AI. You know, you have the teachers who want it and they want to use it, and they want the kids to be able to use it. And then you have those teachers that want it to go away. And so we want to find a healthy middle ground so that we can teach people how to use it responsibly. We have developed our acceptable use policy, so we're starting with that as well. And that's all I have for us today.
Leilani, can I throw something out there real quick?
Yeah.
Because I'm also thinking about Charles, thinking about everybody in the school system. So if your experiences are with Copilot, ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, any of these tools, understand that that is generative AI, and that is like a fraction of the AI universe. That's like maybe now that's maybe 10, 15% of the AI universe. Okay, there are other types of systems that you will see coming. There are other types of systems that are already there and present, especially when you start talking about agents and agentic AI. So even if you have Magic School, right, which has a bunch of little tools sitting in the interface, that's still just a generative AI overlay. Generative AI just generates content. That's what it does. So understand that, when you start thinking about these things, there are other types of tools out there that might actually fit better, but maybe have not been built for education yet. Okay, so don't just like form your opinion based on that one type of AI that you've seen. That would be Copilot, Gemini, any of the Gemini tools. Classroom LM is a slightly tweaked version of Gemini's generative AI. Guided learning is excuse me, Doc. Guided learning actually has a little bit of agent flavor in it, and there's some that are coming into play. But if it's that class of tools, that's really only one type of tool. Okay.
Okay, so I want to ask if there's any other burning questions, and then make a comment for the teachers that joined, so they know not to be afraid of AI, because it's super awesome. Any questions? Because we have just a few minutes left, and I want to make sure that the people who attended can ask questions, because Roland and Ernie and I and our committee chairs are fully committed. We're going to keep leveling up every one of these meetings.
Leilani, can I just make a comment about Roland's comment?
Yeah.
About the different types of AI. So just quick background, former head of science. I started as a dual language math and science teacher, former head of science and technology for the City of New York Department of Ed, State of Hawaii, one of the NGSS writers. And I've been working in AI since 2011. And the company I worked with originally, we used structured and unstructured data. We took video, audio, PowerPoints, books, and materials and made sense of them for teachers at the higher ed level. So that hasn't even hit K-12 education yet. It's called iSeek.ai. It still exists. And it's by the company that developed Siri. I worked for them for 3.5 years, and then I was the head of global robotics for Tech Education, another semi-autonomous robotics company. And I see this in education now, that people are scared about where we're going. I'm happy to be here. I'm a resource for anybody that needs help or has a question. And I just want to thank Leilani for inviting me. And Roland, I would love to have a conversation with you and Ernie about where we're going and what we're doing as well. It'd be a lot of fun.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Travis, any questions from you? I haven't heard from my good buddy right here in Little Rock, Travis Taylor.
Oh, good morning. Hey, thanks for inviting me, and enjoy the conversation, especially particularly from Ernie and Roland. Ernie said something earlier that always sticks in my mind concerning a lot of this, is that, whenever I'm having these meetings or we're having these conversations about this at K-12 level, the conversations tend to be just around, students cheating on papers. I mean, and so the conversation I keep trying to steer it back to is that we're talking about AI across the entire system. And I've been really focusing and looking. I think one of the hotspots is going to be HR, because we're seeing a lot of things being used in HR that's becoming that's being talked about now. So, we have to look at the entire system, HR, what we're doing with the buses, what's going on in maintenance, all of these things that AI, as far as in general, around the system, and not just and I think that the focus of the policy should be from there, and then just adapt everything based on, okay, so what does that mean in teaching and learning? What does that mean in maintenance? What does that mean? So that's kind of where I'm seeing all this. And I think, from what Ernie, that's really he really brought that back to my attention. And I'm still loving what I'm hearing from Roland. Roland, I've got to contact you. There's some things we need to talk about.
Yeah, well, this has been amazing. And for the teachers that are out there, one of the things I want to stress to everyone before we all go, and we have a few more minutes left, but the research is now showing that kids, at least, there was a graph that was all over social media that, OpenAI dropped by 75% use as soon as school got out. You're not going to stop the train. They're all using it. They will use it whether you like it or not. The issue now is where you allow it to be used. So does any teacher or educator want to talk up about that? Because I think that that's the on point of the moment conversation. Or maybe somebody from Kidam about what you're doing in your system, because that obviously is also on point. Going once, going twice.
I'll throw something in there.
Yeah.
I would bet that the student that would use AI to cheat on a paper would be the student that would have cheated anyway. I don't think the actual existence of AI is going to change academic behavior. Now, what other ways that students actually have used that I know of, like for a fact have heard directly from, is maybe they want an example of something so that they can, like how to solve a math problem or something like that, so they can actually apply it to what they're doing with their homework. Things of that nature, or just using AI as an advanced search. But I would be willing to bet that the amount of cheating is not significantly different from what would happen outside the existence of AI. Because that's not a technologically enabled thing. That's a behavior that's part of a personality.
Roland, do you think the definition of cheating may evolve over time, like the definition of cheating with the calculator has changed over time?
I think that would be, that's kind of an interesting thing, because there's like cheating with the calculator, but then when the teacher teaches you to solve the problem with the calculator, then it's no longer cheating, right?
Yeah, it's changed over time.
Yeah, so I think that will evolve with what we expect the student to do with the tool to provide, to get to be more productive, versus what we don't want them doing with the tool. And I think that will evolve over time.
Yeah. Well, I think we're at wrap-up moment right now, unless there's a really quick final question. I want to encourage everyone who got on today, please become a member. There's a free level of membership, and the team is working fast and furiously for the paid levels. That's both on the sponsor side and on the educator side. Now, on the educator side, mark your calendars for April 15th through the 17th. Fingers crossed that's the final date now. Chicago, where we have our national. By that time, we're going to have schema, like what does this model of schooling that you might be able to adopt look like, and what does the Omni model look like? What does your EdTech stack look like? The sponsors that fit those EdTech stacks, they're all going to be listed in those models. We're going to invite a lot of those guys to speak and share, actually show and tell all the new AI, things that are on the scene. We want to see all of them. And then there's going to be a lot of policy work at the organizational level. I love the comment about the busing systems and the HR systems. This is the future, Omni-AI. So actually building this future as quickly as we possibly can, because that's how fast the outside world is moving, is important also, because if you've noticed, there's a lot of bond issues out there to keep propping up a system that is not really working. People are trying to keep building more and more and not necessarily changing the efficiency they have internally is what AI is now here to do. I'm a huge proponent of it. I'm not a proponent of losing our humanity. So Ernie's going to carry the flag for keeping the humans involved and exactly what that means, right? Like, so we push that meaningfulness. So any last comments, or I'll let everyone go. Over and out for now. See you next time for another Omni-AI Alliance meeting. Thank you for being with me.